Fusion Mobile, quality
Plant
e-learning
forms
experience
and distribution
on the go.
of crops. All crops belong to a group of plants called higher plants. Higher plants are plants which are able to exist on their own by being able to manufacture their own food from basic elements such as water and carbon dioxide. The process of food manufacture in higher plants is known as photosynthesis. Crops are classified based on their habitat, based on their leaf shape, based on the nature of their cotyledons. Based on habitat, we have the aquatic forms and the terrestrial plants. Aquatic forms are those plants which live in water, for example, the planktons. While terrestrial plants are plants that live on land, for example, the cocoa, the oil palm, the rubber, etc. Plants based on their leaf shape include the broadleaf crops. Broadleaf crops are those group of plants that have broad leaves. For example, the beans, groundnut, etc. While narrow leaf crops are crops which include the millet, the rice, the maize, the wheat. As their name implies, they have narrow leaves. Based on the nature of their cotyledons, we have the monocotyledon and the dicotyledon. The monocotyledon crop plants include the maize, the millet, the rice, etc., while the dicotyledonous plants include the melon, the pea, etc. We have different parts of crop plants. They include the roots, the stem, the leaves, the flowers. Crop plants consist of two main parts, the shoot and the root. The root is the part of the plant below the ground, while the shoot consists of all parts of the plant above the ground. The shoot includes the stem, the leaves, the flowers. The organs of the plant can be divided into the vegetative organs and the reproductive organs. The roots are of two types, the taproot and the fibrous root. A taproot consists of one major root from which various minor branches, that is the lateral roots, arise. A fibrous root system consists of numerous similar fine roots, all of which grow from the base of the plant stem. Roots grow at the tip, pushing the free end of the root through the soil. The root helps to anchor the plant to the soil, that is, to hold the plant to the soil. They help to absorb water and mineral salts from the soil. And in some plants, they serve as the storage organs, for example, the cassava. The stem. The stem bears the leaves, the buds, the flowers, and the fruits. The stem supports the leaves, flowers, and fruits. It conducts water and mineral salts to the leaves and manufactured substances from the leaves to other parts of the plant. In some plants, the stem serves as a storage organ, for example, the sugarcane. Leaves. A typical leaf consists of stalk called the petiole and a blade called the lamina. The green lamina is made from a soft tissue with thin-walled cells supported by a stronger network of veins. These veins serve as pipelines which take raw materials into and manufactured foods out of the leaves. The functions of the leaves include 1. Leaves make food for the plant by a process called photosynthesis. Green leaves contain pockets of chlorophyll, the green pigment, which harnesses the light energy of the sun and uses it to build up sugars from carbon dioxide and water. Some leaves serve as storage organs, for example, the onions. The flower. The flower is the reproductive part of the flowering plant. It is the region where the male and female organs produce the pollen grain and ovary respectively. The flower contains the ovary which develops to form fruit after pollination and fertilization. The ovules inside it develop to form the seeds. Monocotyledons and dicotyledons. Monocotyledons are plants that have one seed leaf or cotyledon. For example, the maize, rice, millet, wheat, oil palm, coconut, banana, etc. While the dicotyledons are plants that have two cotyledons or seed leaf. For example, the groundnut, the tomato, the cowpea, the cocoa, rubber, mango, cola, citrus, etc. As you can see on the screen, there are differences between the monocotyledons and the dicotyledons. The monocotyledons have fibrous roots, while the dicotyledons have taproot and lateral roots. The monocotyledons have long unbranched stem, vascular bundles randomly scattered through the stem, while the dicotyledons have stems which are usually unbranched. Their vascular bundles are radially arranged, like the spokes of a wheel. The flowers of the monocotyledons are usually green and unscented, while the dicotyledons or dicots are usually colorful and sometimes scented. The monocots have one seed leaf which does not naturally break into two halves, while the dicots have two seed leaves which breaks naturally into two halves. Pollination usually takes place with the help of the wind, while in dicotyledons, pollination takes place with the help of insects. The leaves of monocots are parallel veined. They are long and narrow with their leaf sheath, while the dicots are net veined, broad with their narrow petal. Examples of the monocots are all grasses and cereals, oil palm, coconut, pineapple, ginger, banana, while examples of the dicots are the cowpea, the groundnut, the cassava, yam, okra, citrus, rubber, cocoa. Factors affecting the distribution of crops. This refers to the region where each particular crop is mostly adapted in Nigeria. There are different factors which affect where crops find themselves. Those factors include the climate, rainfall, temperature and relative humidity, sunshine, soil conditions, and human activities. In rainfall, as a factor that affects the distribution of crops, crops depend mainly on rainfall for their water supply. They can also get their water through underground water and irrigation. The water requirements of different crops vary. Banana, which requires much water, is grown mainly in the south, while sorghum, which requires less water, is grown in the north with less rainfall. Temperature and relative humidity. Crops have a temperature range within which they can attain their maximum yield. They have their maximum as well as their minimum temperatures. Some crops require very cool temperatures, for example the Irish potato. It is therefore grown in cool northern areas like Kano and Jos. Sunshine. As we all know, sunshine is very necessary for the growth of all crops. It is an essential element in the photosynthetic activity of the plant. Some crops require long hours of sunshine, while others require shorter hours of sunshine to produce well. Soil conditions. Soils vary in their physical as well as their chemical properties. Some crops require sandy to loamy soils. For example, we have the groundnut, while some require clay soils. For example, the swamp rice. Soils also vary in their pH levels, and some crops do well in soils of low pH levels, while others require high pH level. Human activities on land. Man has influenced crop distribution by supplying water to crops through irrigation and damming, thereby making production of crops that require a lot of water possible in the drier areas. Fertilizers have also been applied to poor soils to improve their fertility, while organic manure has been applied to clay soils to improve water retention.